Howdy folks, welcome to this week's Ag Report. Today we're here at Clift Nation talking about their really neat learning opportunity they like to call the chicken salad. And I'm here with Miss Woods. She is one of the teachers here at Clift Nation. Tell us about how your students are working with the chicken coop here.
Well, they get to, we have chicken committees. We have a committee of chicken helpers. And every day, the helpers come out here and they let the chickens out, feed them, water them, make sure they have enough water for the day. And at night, they put them back up and make sure they're safe and sound for the evening.
So this started about 6 years ago. So Miss Woods, tell me how it got started.
Well, I decided to write a grant. The year before I wrote the grant, I had hatched some chicks in the classroom. And the kids wanted to know why we didn't keep them there at school. Why was I taking them home? And I said, well, we didn't have a place to put them. So I thought, you know what? I think I'll write a grant and see about getting a chicken coop for us. And I talked to Mr. Brewster, our principal at the time, and he was, of course, 100% on board with it. So we decided to write a grant for a chicken coop. And I thought, well, if we're going to do a chicken coop, we should do a garden also, because it can feed the chickens and provide even more opportunities for students to learn outside. Which, when students are outside versus in the classroom, they learn more because it's real world. It's not a worksheet, paper and pencil. It's something that they're actually doing and experiencing. So I wrote the grant for the garden and the chicken coop, and it was a very modest chicken coop. It was I envisioned a tractor type chicken coop, one that would move around. And we had this area that's fenced, and I thought, well, this is perfect. It's already got a fence around it. It's a large space, so we can use what we have and then add the chicken coop to it and some raised beds. Well, then Mr. Dineen contacted me and said, we've got an idea. And so Mr. and Mrs. Dineen came and met with me, and Mrs. Barnes, our counselor, and then the principal and assistant principal. And we talked about what the Dineens envisioned, what your parents envisioned. And what they wanted to do with the chicken coop was incredible. I mean, it's a beautiful, permanent structure that provides storage and provides a nice, safe space for our chickens and will last forever. So it turned into this really nice project thanks to your parents and the Avenue Church, who between their volunteers and their financial donations.
So I noticed you had 2 different gardens and 2 different doors for the coop. So what do y'all do with that?
Well, the idea behind it was that we would have half of the garden that we would be actively using for growing vegetables. So it'd be what we were planning at that time. And the other half of the garden would be for the chickens to enjoy. So what we do is, like, for instance, this half of our garden that we're in right now, this was where we planted spring vegetables and produce. And then this door would the chickens would be blocked off from coming in here, because if you let them in here, they will dig up all the seeds and make a mess of your garden beds. So they were allowed to go to the other side of the garden, and that was their area, while we planted this side. After the spring season ended, we switched the sides. So now our fall vegetables are over on that side of the garden, and the chickens have access to this side, and they're able to still enjoy the fruits of our labor from spring, what's left of it, and it provides them a place to feather dust and other things like that. So they enjoy it. And it gives them a new area. I mean, they're curious, so they like going to new places. So it's good for them to go from one side to the other. We have a couple of pomegranate bushes. We have one that's over behind you, and then we have another one in the front. And the one in the front has little pomegranates growing on it right now.
Yeah, I saw those.
And then we have a trumpet vine right here that's very healthy and puts out some pretty flowers, which is good for bringing in insects. We have a blackberry bush and a grape vine that are both, every year they provide fruit which is neat for the kids to come out and sample. We have a rosemary bush that is almost taken over half of one of our garden beds. And we're growing pumpkins right now, hoping to have some pumpkins for Halloween time. Of what's left from our spring garden, we've got a little bit of kale, some cantaloupe, and I see a little bit of cantaloupe that's growing also over there on the arch. And then we've got some tomato plants, and we have a committee of kids who are on a garden committee, and they help take care of the garden by weeding it and planting plants and that kind of stuff.
So here are some of the chicken wranglers. So y'all tell me what y'all's chores are around here.
Every morning we look in the boxes to see if there's any eggs, and we feed them and water them.
What are some of the things y'all do?
Well, we do technically the same thing. We have like partners, and we have other people that that help us whenever we do everything, and then make sure that they have food and water, and check if there's any eggs or anything. Well, yeah.
What are some things that you enjoy about it?
We get to load them in at the end of the day, and then in the beginning of the day we get to take them out, and then we get to check for eggs.
So is this y'all's first year doing this, or do y'all have chickens at y'all's houses?
I don't have chickens at my house, but I love chickens a lot, and this is my first year doing it.
This is my first year. I had guineas at my house, and it was a big responsibility for me because I had a lot, and So first year doing this, I had chickens at my uncle's house, and I got to help out.
So I hope y'all have enjoyed this week's ag report here at the chicken salad at Clift Nation here in Waxahachie. Y'all take care now.